The 2009 electorate is the youngest since 1952. So what do first-time voters want? All right, I'm joined now by young voters. Many of them are going to exercise their franchise for the first time in their lives. And I can tell you, I've been talking to them already. They really are quite demanding. Who will you vote for? Will you vote at all?
As much as I do want to vote and exercise my duty, it's a matter of choosing between the noose and the knife here. So I don't really know who I want to vote for. I do wish there was a candidate who's worth all the hype.
Okay, the noose or the knife, is that something that you feel? Will you vote?
Definitely. The framers of our constitution has given everybody a right by virtue of being a citizen of this country. And I definitely am very excited about exercising my idle franchise. But again, before, as you all know, that the youngsters are the ones who vote the most. I think each and every one of us should make a very informed decision before we vote. Because
informed decision. Are you excited? She said she's excited about voting. Are you excited about freebies and manifestos?
Certainly, I'm not excited. The concept of free and fair elections, which is part of the basic structure of a constitution, has been shattered with the politicians. Today, the freebie culture has been something which is a part of the election manifesto, and it ought to be changed. Rather than being a person who's voting for the freebies, it must be an informed choice with the real candidates. Performance should be taken into consideration rather than a freebie what he provides.
All right. A lot of, across the country, many believe that there is this sense of cynicism. They feel that many people who are on the fray have track records not in social service but in police stations.
I can't comment on that because.
What do you feel about how should your ideal candidate be?
Like they said, I wish I knew more about my candidate. She said some more field work should probably go into my choice before I vote. This is going to be my first time too.
And you're going to vote?
I haven't decided. I know I'm eligible from this year, so but like he said, the freebie cultures, and there are a lot of promises that I've heard these politicians making. It's not even promises like I'll make your living conditions better, or it's not like I want to do something better for you. It's always, if I give you this, you vote for me. That's about the only promises they make, and I don't even think they're kept most of the time. So
well, broken promises. Many say that in some constituencies, at least, the non-voting percentage is higher than the voting percentage.
Yeah, that is true, and in fact, negative voting is pending before the Supreme Court, and I do hope that it's exercised, because I think just like a person has a right to choose his leaders, he should have a right to vote against a person.
Okay. Is that something that you also believe in? What about the criminal antecedents of candidates? Will you ask them? I mean, you've seen that Jagori ad, where you actually almost interrogate a person who comes canvassing for votes.
That's very true. Like our constitution and the machinery itself has not, though implied provisions, and the courts have always supported them. Like we ought to know the antecedents of the candidates whom we are supposed to vote, because voting essentially is the manifestation of political will of each and every.
So do you know the antecedents of the candidates who are in the fray?
The problem with India is information is not percolated to the public in a very easy manner, like in US or other European countries. If I work hard...
They are supposed to file an affidavit about their assets, about the cases pending against them, if any?
Yes, they are supposed to file affidavits as to what they are involved into, like whether it is criminal matters or otherwise, even their assets, which the public ought to know.
But the public don't really make that effort. As a youngster, will you make that effort to find out?
Sure, I need to know whom I am voting for, the antecedents, and what he is up to. But the majority of the population is quite uninformed about what the candidates are.
All right. How will you find out about the antecedents of candidates in the fray? You've seen your parents voting. So is there a sense of cynicism that has crept in? Normally people say the youth are symbolize idealism.
Well, I don't think I symbolize idealism here, but I'm just looking more in the practical front. I don't really think I would be able to trust the affidavits that these candidates file themselves, because none of the things that they say or none of the things that they do have made them worthy of our trust. So why would
they belied that trust? What, very briefly, since we're running out of time, what will you expect in a manifesto? What do you want as a youngster, these politicians, to actually promise you and deliver?
Transparency and trust.
Okay. What would you want? I mean, you live in South Chennai. What would you want in South Chennai, for instance?
Probably getting rid of the mosquitoes and making sure that the dustbins are not overflowing and crowding the streets more than the population of the streets themselves. So that's one of the very basic things that we ought to be getting in our everyday lives. So if they could promise that, nothing like it.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Well, there you have it. In fact, the young voters, first-time voters, their votes are not going to come cheap. Politicians, beware, you have a lot of answering to do.